Om Namo Bhagavate Sri Ramanaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Sri Ramanaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Sri Ramanaya. Salutations to Ramana, who shines as the self in all beings. Offering our salutations to Ramana, the self, we begin the Saturday Satsang with a prayer, followed by the chanting of the Muktakatrayam, and that will be followed by the chanting of a few verses from Upadesa Saram. Dakshinamurti Saram Bha Shankaracharya Madhyama Ramanacharya Paryanta Vande Guru Parampara. Vande Guru Parampara. Vande Guru Parampara. Shuklam Bharadharam Vishnum Shashivarnam Chaturbhujam Prasannavadanam Dhyaye Sarvavighnopashantaye. Angikam bhuvanam yasya vachikam sarvavangmayam aharyam chandrataaradhi tam nama satvikam shivam. Ekamaksharam Hridi nirantaram bhasate swayam likhyate katham hridaya kuhara madhye ke atmanishto bhavatvam. Deham mrण्मयवच्चडात्मकम् aham buddhirna tasyastyato naham tattadapatmana soham. Om Namo Bhagavate Sri Ramana. Namo Ramana. Now we have the chanting of Upadesa Saram. Idamaham pada bhikkyamanvaham ahamilinake pyalaya sattaya vigrahendriya pranadhitama nahamekasat tajjadam yasat sattvabhasika chitvavetara sattaya hi chittaya hyaham Isha Jivayorveshadhibida Satsvabhavato Vastu Kevalam Veshahanata Swatmadarshanam Isha Darshanam Swatmarupata Atma Samstiti Swatmadarshanam Atmanirdvayad Atmanishtata Jnanavarjita Ajnanahina Chit Jnanamasti Kim Jnatumantaram Kim Swarupam Ityatmadharshane Avyaya Bhava Apurna Chitsukam Bandhamuktiyati Tamparam Sukam Vindati Haji Vastu Daivika Ahamapetakam Nijavibhanakam Mahadidam tapo Ramanavagiyam. Namo Ramana. We continue the satsang with an offering of a song from Ramananjali Sangeetam, which will be offered by Savitri Krishnan and Jaisriram Krishnan.
Jaya Ramanane Jaya Ramanane Jaya Yennuta Hadiri Jaya Doreye Jaya.
Sorry, Jaishrika, we are not able to hear you.
Jaya Ramanane Jaya Ramanane Jaya Yennuta Hadiri Jaya Doreye Jaya Guruve Jaya Parave Yennire Manavanu Nigrahisalo Yenitu ದಾರಿ ಇರುವುದು ಮನವನ್ನು ನಿಗ್ರಹಿಸಲು ಶ್ರೀರಮಣ ವಿಚಾರ ಪದ್ಧತಿ ಎಲ್ಲ ದಾರಿ ಬೆರೆಯುವುದು ಶ್ರೀರಮಣ ವಿಚಾರ ಪದ್ಧತಿ ಎಲ್ಲ ದಾರಿ ಬೆರೆಯುವುದು ಜಯ ರಮಣನೆ ಜಯ ಎನ್ನುತ್ತ ಹಾಡಿರಿ ಜಯ ದೊರೆಯೇ ಜಯ ಗುರುವೇ ಜಯ ಪರ ರಮಣ ಗುರುವು ತೋರಿದ ಈ ಕಿರಣ ಪಥದಿ ಸಾಗಿರೆ ರಮಣ ಗುರುವು ತೋರಿದ ಈ ಕಿರಣ ಪಥದಿ ಸಾಗಿರೆ ಅಜ್ಞಾನದ ತಮವ ಸೀಳಿ ಬೆಳಕಿನ ನೆಲೆ ಸೇರಿರೆ ಅಜ್ಞಾನದ ತಮವ ಸೀಳಿ ಬೆಳಕಿನ ನೆಲೆ ಸೇರಿರೆ ಜಯ ರಮಣನೆ ಜಯ ರಮಣ ಜಯ ಎನ್ನುತ್ತ ಹಾಡಿರಿ ಜಯ ದೊರೆಯೇ ಜಯ ಗುರುವೇ ಜಯ ಪರವೇ ಎನ್ನಿರೆ ಜಯ ರಮಣನೆ ಜಯ ಎನ್ನುತ್ತ ಹಾಡಿರಿ ಜಯ ದೊರೆಯೇ ಜಯ ಗುರುವೇ ಜಯ ಪರವೇ ಎನ್ನಿರೆ ಜಯ ಪರವೇ ಎನ್ನಿರೆ ಜಯ ಪರವೇ ಎನ್ನಿರೆ. Jaisriram.
We continue the satsang with reading, followed by the meditation on that reading and practicing self-enquiry. I found this book of Guru Vachaka Kovai written by Muruganar Swami, and we have the translation and commentary by Sri Sadhu Swami. So I would read a paragraph from this Guru Vachaka Kovai and we will meditate. I'm reading from the section, The Practice of the Truth, from the heading Asana or Posture. Remaining steady without slipping down from the knowledge that the whole universe has only self, the supreme space of jnana. As its base, asana is the firm and unshakable posture, asana, for the good samadhi, that is sahaja samadhi. Talking about asana or posture, Muruganar Swami says, remaining steady without slipping down from the knowledge that the whole universe has only self, the supreme space of jnana. As its base, asana, is the firm and the unshakable posture, asana, for the good samadhi, that is sahaja samadhi. Sadhu Swami explains, for the people of the present day who have been given the gross understanding that folding the legs, straightening the back, directing the eyes towards the tip of the nose, and remaining like a log is the posture of yoga, yoga asana. Sri Bhagavan teaches in this verse that correct posture for yoga, yoga asana for jnana yoga. Sadhu Swami is telling for people of the present day who have been given the gross understanding that folding the legs, straightening the back, directing the eyes towards the tip of the nose, and remaining like a log is the posture of yoga, yoga asana. Sri Bhagavan teaches in this verse the correct posture for yoga, yoga asana for jnana yoga. Here, Bhagavan is telling us, he has given us the teaching of understanding that that the self is the universe. The universe is the manifestation of our own very self. And abiding in that jnana alone, abiding in the self alone is the posture that is required, that is unshakable, and that is unmoving, and that is the best asana, says Bhagavan. And Bhagavan was ever in that yogasana, ever in that union with that self. And for devotees who would come and say, Bhagavan, how do you say there is only one? I see there is differences. Do you say that you, me, this barricade that I see between us, this sofa, this fan, this light, are they all not present? Are they all not there? Bhagavan would remind the devotees, yes, it is all false. None of this is real. But the only one that is real is the one who is seeing all these. Bhagavan used to say that there is no jnani and ajnani. There is no differences. The only thing that exists is jnana alone, the supreme knowledge alone. And that supreme knowledge is our own very self. So Ramana only said, get back to the self. In the Dhyana Shloka that we say, Hridaya Kuhara Madhye, Bhagavan says, do whatever you want. Either you want to control your breath, do pranayama, or observe your breath, do it. If that helps, do it. If the questioning from where is this I thought arising, if that helps, do it. If the enquiry, who am I, helps you, do it. Whatever you do, abide as the self. Atmanishto bhava. That is the only criteria. Whether you stand and do it, whether you sit and do it, whether you sleep and do it is secondary. Whatever helps you, supports you, hold on. Death experience. And while reading this death experience, Nandakumarji was explaining how that death experience word come out of my mouth. Not even the thought, not even the word I. And I wanted to face the death, and I did this. And I turned within with the question, what happens when this body is dead and it is taken to the crematorium and burnt into ashes? Who am I? When I held on to that question, something shined within me, and I understood that I am not this body which dies, but I am the spirit, or I am the consciousness. I am the self which includes the body, but it is beyond and it transcends it. And I realized this once for all. And Bhagavan says, there was no change after that moment. I was perpetually absorbed in that current. I was absorbed in that self. That is what is Sahaja Samadhi. Ramana was in Sahaja Samadhi, whether he was eating, whether he was playing, whether he was sitting or sleeping or attending his school, he was ever absorbed in the self. So Bhagavan has given us this path of abiding in the true asana, the true posture, the true base where which is the only support that we can take, which is the self. So let us hold on to this self. If through habit, if we are taken out, our attention deviates in the form of a thought, Bhagavan says, quickly ask the question, for whom is this thought? And the answer is for me. And turn the attention towards the heart and ask, who am I? And hold on to this question. Bhagavan says, this question, who am I, has the power to destroy all the other thoughts, and it takes us to our own true source, which is the self, and it also disappears and dissolves in that source. Until that happens, let us practice self enquiry. We'll sit down for self enquiry for the next 15 minutes. Namo Bhagavate Sri Ramana. Namo Ramana. In this part of the satsang, we are meditating on the verses written by Bhagavan from Arunachala Navamanimalai, and we are meditating on the second verse where Bhagavan gives us a nama that we can meditate on, we can chant and sing that nama, and he gives the letter by letter meaning of this nama and initiates us with this mantra, which is Arunachala, and also assures that this mantra bestows liberation for all those who think of this mantra, remember this mantra. Satya Chit Sukhamandri Paravuyir Saraikiyam. Satya Chit Sukhamandri Paravuyir Saraikiyam. Artha Attattvamasi Aruna Porulam. Artha Attattvamasi Aruna Porulam. Achalate Artham Ghanamad Vahum Shev Vadaga Aruliyam. Achalate Artham Ghanamad Vahum Shev Vadaga Aruliyam. Mukti நினைக்க அருள், முக்தி நினைக்க அருள், அருணாச்சலம் முன்னிடவே. ಸತ್ಯಚಿತ್ ಸುಖವು ಜೀವ ಪರಮಾತ್ಮ ಐಕ್ಯವು. ಸತ್ಯಚಿತ್ ಸುಖವು ಜೀವ ಪರಮಾತ್ಮ ಐಕ್ಯವು. ತತ್ವಮಸಿ ತತ್ವವು ಅರುಣ ಪದದ ಸಾರವು. ತತ್ವಮಸಿ ತತ್ವವು ಅರುಣ ಪದದ ಸಾರವು. ಅಚಲವೆಂದರೆ ಘನವು ಉಜ್ವಲ ಚೆಂಬೆಳಕು. ಅಚಲವೆಂದರೆ ಘನವು ಉಜ್ವಲ ಚೆಂಬೆಳಕು. ನೆನೆದರೆ ಮುಕ್ತಿ ಕೊಡುವ ಅರುಣಾಚಲ ವಿಚಾರಿಸಿ ನೆನೆದರೆ ಮುಕ್ತಿ ಕೊಡುವ ಅರುಣಾಚಲ ವಿಚಾರಿಸಿ. This verse has been set to a raga called Hamir Kalyani Raga by Srimati Sulochana Natarajan. This Hamir Kalyani Raga sounds very, very beautiful. It's very melodious raga. Muthuswami Dikshitar composes a, a kriti in Hamir Kalyani for a place called Kalahasti, which is the Vayu Linga there in Kalahasti. For Vayu Linga, he offers a song in the Panchabhuta Kshetras, which includes Arunachala also, which is the Agni Kshetra, and we have the Kanchi, which is Prithvilinga, the Ekambareshwara. In the Jambukeshwara in Tiruchi, it is the Apahalinga, that is water linga. In the Chirambaram, it's the Akashalinga, and here in Kalahasti, which is the Vayulinga, he offers a song in Hamir Kalyani Raga. Since this is mentioning the Hamir Kalyani Raga is coming here, we are reminded of how this Arunachala mantra was ever shining in Bhagavan, even from his infancy. And he he never shared that with anyone because it was so natural, just like the breathing. So he never shared this with anyone. But that Arunachala was shining, shining within him all the time. And when a relative came to his house and knocked the door in Madurai and reported, I am coming from Arunachala. Then the boy Venkatraman was thrilled to know that that mantra which was shining within him is the sacred mantra. It is the sacred place in on the earth, and it is nothing but Tiruvannamalai. And he was filled with an assurance that he can attain it. Arunachala is the self, Arunachala is the heart. But we think that Arunachala, the divine, is something beyond our reach. He's something very, very glorious, but we can't reach it. We can't understand it. We can't touch it. For those sadhakas who think that the supreme knowledge is very, very far, this Arunachala himself came as a guru, as an uncle, and knocked the door and said, Arunachala can be attained here and now, Jivastu Daivika, and telling that he initiated him to understand the true meaning. Here, Munnidave, Munnidave means enquire the meaning of Arunachala. Enquire what is Arunachala. So that enquiry of understanding what Arunachala is. Arunachala is synonymous to Aham, the I. So Bhagavan in the death experience, he inquired into the true meaning of Arunachala and he realized it once for all. And that we celebrate as the Jnanodaya enlightenment of Bhagavan Ramana. And what did he understand? He understand that he is the only reality. Sat. What is Sat? Sat is that the reality is that which does not change. All the other things that we see is always constantly changing. We see the weather is constantly changing and our mind is also constantly changing. One moment we are having a good thought, next moment we are having a worried thought, and next we are having a humanist thought. So the mind is also constantly changing. Is this body that we think, is it real? No, it has been changing every moment. We were small babies when we were born, and now we see that we are this human body. And we all see as an example that soon this body is going to become weak and going to become old, and the body is going to change. So this changing body cannot be the truth, the Sat. The Sat is that which is ever present. And Bhagavan says, what is it that makes you conscious, aware? That is the Sat Chit. Bhagavan says that awareness is ever there. You are always there, and that awareness is always there. Even in a dark room where there is no one, if somebody asks, is somebody there? What is the instant answer that we say? We say, I am here. I am here. So that I is always here. So our own true nature is existence, and we are aware of our existence. If somebody comes and tells us, Ujwal, I think you know French, then I would say, no, I don't know French. Then if they insist, I am sure you know French, then I will raise up and say, no, I know that I do not know the French. I know, I do not know. Bhagavan says, yes, you know that you do not know. So that is the awareness, which is the underlying principle. You know, and that knowledge is Chit. And Bhagavan says, we are all Ananda Swarupas. We are full of happiness. Our own true nature is happiness. That's why Bhagavan says, because we are all happiness, we are searching for happiness. Because our own true nature is happiness, we are searching for happiness. And he gives the example that our true nature is to be healthy. In Sanskrit, it's called swasthatha. That is swasthvagadira means are you all right? That is the word says swasthitha. That is swasthatha is to be abiding in your natural state. Is arogya. It is health. If you're not feeling well, if you're feeling unwell, if you're having a headache, we try to come out of it. We either have a cup of coffee or we will take a medicine, or if it is find a solution. We want to get rid of this illness because the illness is or not our true nature. What is our true nature? Is to be swastha. And Bhagavan says to be happy is our own true nature. That's why we are all searching for that happiness. Bhagavan says, why are we searching? Because we think that we are not that happiness. We think we are separate from that Satchit Ananda Swarupa. Bhagavan says it is not the truth. And he gives later an example. In the Ashtakam, he has given the example of how the water from the ocean, it evaporates and becomes cloud, and that cloud comes to the earth and it flows down, it pours down as rain, and that water from the rain flows and reaches the ocean. And that water, when it is in the river, it is seeking, it is searching, it wants to become one with its source, which is the ocean. But Ramana reminds, in whatever state the water is, whether it is the ocean, or whether it is the vapor, whether it is the clouds, or it is falling down as rain, or whether it is flowing as a small stream, or whether it is flowing as a big river, every moment, if it inquires, who am I? It which inquires and finds out what is its true nature, it will understand that it is always water. It is never separate from that supreme ocean of nectar, supreme Satchit Ananda. So Bhagavan says the Arunachala, the meaning of Arunachala is the Jiva Paramatma being one. They're actually one. We are not at all different from the Paramatma, but we somehow feel that we are different. But through enquiry, we understand that union. If we understand that we are Arunachala, we understand that there is no separation between the Jiva and the Paramatma. They are one and the same. And that is the Mahavakya. Tat Tattvam Asi. You are that. Bhagavan says in one we were reading from Guru Vachaka Kovai in one of the verses, actually in these two words, Tattvam Asi. Asi alone is important. You are that. That alone is important. Why do we have this you are attached to it? Because we now feel that we are not that. We are something else. And we see that Bhagavan is that. You are that. But I am not that. We separate ourselves from that. So to make us understand that alone, Asi alone exists, Bhagavan has come into our lives and given us this path of self-enquiry and understanding that from where does this feeling I or you arise from? Find out from where that it arises and you merge into that source. Then you will understand you are Asi. And Satyamangalam Venkatramayar in the this Ramana Sadguru says, Asi Padat Uruvanavan. Ramana, you are the embodiment of that Asi Padam. And that Arunachala is ever shining. It is the Satchit Ananda. It is the union. It is the union of the Jivatma and Paramatma. It is the Tattvam Asi. But it is so natural, we take it for granted. We are not paying attention. So that Arunachala, because it is shining, nobody is paying attention to it and understanding the glory of it. That Arunachala Tattva bestowed his own state to Bhagavan to make Bhagavan understand this and to glorify